So I originally wanted to make this a video about my opinions on Bethesda potentially exploring the possibility of letting some of their developers work on more licensed IP games, similar to how Machine Games did Indiana Jones, and we know that Arcane Studios are working on Blade. However, with the news that Warner Brothers Games shuttered 3 studios, which by now is old news, I wanted to kind of expand this topic a little bit. So if you're new here and you enjoy this video, definitely consider leaving a like. It really helps out a lot. And also consider subscribing to the channel because there's going to be a lot more interesting gaming discussions moving forward. Before we get any further into the video, I want to just stop really fast. I know this is unexpected, but I want to quickly shout out the sponsors of this video, which is crazy to even think that I have sponsors now. But I want to give a serious shout out and a thank you to the guys at 4XP Gaming. These guys are awesome, and I want to tell you a little bit about their product. Developed by lifelong gamers, 4XP is designed to elevate your gaming experience, ensuring that you stay sharp, refreshed, and fully immersed while you're playing. Whether you're in for a marathon session or just a quick multiplayer match, the unique trifecta of flavor, fuel, and focus makes 4XP not just a drink, but an essential part of a gamer's lifestyle. Check out the link to their website in the description of this video, and use my creator code 4XPRealm for a 10% discount when you're at checkout. Thank you so much to 4XP for sponsoring this video. With that, let's jump right into the discussion. Let me paint a picture of a different time for all of you. Do you remember the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 generation? Well, I do. And I remember being absolutely flooded with licensed games back then. It felt like so many of them were absolutely terrible cash grabs, but then there were others like the Batman Arkham games that were truly innovative and fresh for the time, and they showed us a completely different way to approach existing or licensed IP. Now, I believe that we might actually be on the road to returning to that era, or at least to a sort of similar time where we were getting just inundated with licensed games. Except nowadays, most of them need to be successful and be good in terms of their quality and also their commercial viability in the wider AAA gaming market. Not just for the sake of the AAA industry at large, but also for the sake of many beloved studios who might otherwise just face closure in these uncertain times, unless perhaps a hand is extended to pull them away from the precipice, so to speak, in the form of maybe licensed IP to give these developers and publishers a chance to live on maybe just a little bit longer. So one of the first things I want to touch on here is that in a rather unfortunate continuation of recent trends we've seen in the AAA games industry, Warner Brothers Games closed down 3 separate studios. Monolith, the makers of the Middle-earth games, among other things, Player First Games, the studio behind the Smash Brothers-like multiverses, and Warner Brothers San Diego. Now, I hold incredible disdain towards Warner Brothers as the single worst entertainment company in America, maybe even the world. These guys are horrible at their jobs, and this move to shutter these studios in order to stabilize the business is nothing short of horrible mismanagement by Warner Brothers Games leadership, and more importantly, just sheer incompetence. Warner Brothers now has basically nothing major coming from their games division in the upcoming release calendar, aside from the all but confirmed Hogwarts Legacy Director's Cut, which would include new gameplay elements and more main story content. Rocksteady's Suicide Squad game was a complete failure, and even though they're apparently transitioning into making another fully fledged single-player Batman game, that will still likely be 5 or more years away. NetherRealm's Mortal Kombat series continues to be a success, but Mortal Kombat 1 also apparently was more of a lukewarm hit in WB's eyes, and their next game is also a long ways off. Traveler's Tales games might have another LEGO game on the horizon soon, but once again, WB's mismanagement of their teams has led to a remarkably empty slate of games in the coming years. Now, this is made all the more confusing by the mere fact that Warner Brothers own so many amazing IPs and continue to waste their potential time and time again. Harry Potter, DC Comics, Game of Thrones, The Matrix, Lord of the Rings. The list could actually go on forever. WB basically have no choice at this point but to license out their vast catalog of IPs to other publishers and developers in order to return to profitability and keep their heads above water. Now, I think that this conundrum that Warner Brothers currently finds themselves in, though, is speaking to a larger issue in the AAA industry, which is that unless you are creating a game that is a sequel to a existing and already successful franchise, or unless you're making a game that's attached to a well-known and respected IP, your chances of finding success right now are very, very slim. Now, Bethesda and Machine Games experienced what I think is pretty solid success with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, a really fantastic usage of licensed IP in a way that completely reinvigorated fan enthusiasm for Indiana Jones as a licensed property. But Indiana Jones supposedly reached the hands of over 4 million players across Xbox and PC, and it will soon be launching on PlayStation 5, where it will also likely perform well. Now, I've already spoken about Arcane Leon's Blade making its way over to PS5, and by the very nature of it being associated with the hugely popular Marvel IP, it should be, at minimum, a decent success, although I will say that just because a game has the Marvel IP attached to it, or really any IP for that matter, it doesn't necessarily mean it will be guaranteed success. The recent Guardians of the Galaxy game from Eidos Montreal and Midnight Suns from Firaxis prove as much. But having a game attached to a popular IP, whether that be Marvel, Indiana Jones, DC Comics, Star Wars, whatever, does give a certain safety net of sorts to publishers and developers, something that many of these companies desperately wish for. Now, once again, just because you're a studio that's working on a Marvel or a Star Wars game, I have to stress, it is not guaranteed that it will be successful. It all depends on the quality of the game itself and whether it's offering a truly unique experience in a super saturated market, and also a unique experience compared to other contemporary licensed games that are out there. Good word of mouth can carry a licensed game so far, as we have clearly seen with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. What I'm really trying to convey here is that I personally feel many of these major AAA publishers and developers are going to be utilizing licensed IP far more than they ever have before for many reasons. One is to ensure a certain level of job security and survivability in a constantly shifting gaming climate, and two is to allow really talented teams the opportunity to deliver to us, the gamers, a licensed game that can truly stand apart from the crowd. Just think of all the amazing developers that have gotten to work on the Marvel IP, because Marvel's gaming division had the brilliant idea of taking talented studios and utilizing their unique game-making talents for specific characters within the Marvel Pantheon. This is how we got studios like Insomniac to work on Spider-Man and Wolverine. Eidos Montreal made Guardians of the Galaxy. Firaxis made Midnight Suns. We also have that upcoming Iron Man game from EA Motive, who recently made the Dead Space remake, as well as Cliffhanger Games, a studio that is ironically comprised of many former Monolith developers that are creating a Black Panther game. Imagine some of the possibilities with these external publishers and developers utilizing Warner Brothers IP specifically, and what they could do with those licenses. Why not let a different studio tackle the DC Comics properties. Imagine a co-op game featuring some of the Justice League members created by Hazelight, the studio that gave us It Takes Two and, more recently, Split Fiction. Or imagine a Matrix game from Slow Clap, the Sifu developers. Imagine how incredible that would be. There are a multitude of opportunities available to so many talented developers across the AAA industry in regard to making a licensed IP game. And I just personally feel that because of the extreme volatility of the AAA side of the gaming market specifically, that the AAA industry is likely going to be taking this specific route going forward into the foreseeable future, exploiting licensed IP. It's just one of the many routes they'll likely take and that we might likely see. AA and indie titles will be making waves still on their own terms, but that's another topic that we can discuss another time. So these are just kind of some general thoughts that I wanted to share with all of you about potential licensed IP usage in the AAA side of the games industry moving forward. But now the most important thing is what you guys think. I want to know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think I'm correct that the AAA industry is going to lean a little bit harder on licensed IP going forward, or sequels to existing and already successful franchises? Do you disagree? Do you think that the AAA industry is going to try to push harder on new IP, even though right now that seems like a bit of a riskier prospect, to be completely honest? Whatever you think, drop your comments down below, and please let me know so we can start a discussion. If you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel so that you can keep up to date with what's going on here. I generally will always cover Bethesda and Arcane Studios related news or games, stuff like that, but I also am trying to go out of my way to cover a wider variety of games as well, so stay tuned if you are interested in hearing my thoughts about that stuff. Also, there is a link to the channel Discord that I have currently active. That link will be in the description down below. Definitely feel free to join. There's no paywall. It's open to anybody and everybody who loves Bethesda, Arcane Studios, just gaming in general. We've got a great community here, and we would love for you guys to be a part of it. Do be sure to hit the notification bell so you're always notified when my newest uploads go live, and remember that the outsider walks among us. And I'll see y'all next time.